Comics Covered for the week of December 19th, 2018, with a cheery opening from yours truly, Doug Price. Episode 56. I'm just kidding. I'm Jack. I'm newer to comics. And here on Comics Covered, we talk about, me and my co-host Doug, the world around comic books and themselves, the comics themselves, the comics industry, the comic movies, TV, games. I know, I tried to hybrid this
Yeah, you
intro.
tried to kind of mix it up, and you were really kind of stumbling over it a little bit there.
I know, it's sad, but hey, it happens. We're in the holidays. We're forgiving.
Drunk
we're having
off your
fun.
mind off eggnog.
Drunk. Yes, exactly. It's 8:30 in the morning, and I'm drunk as hell. And I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
I'm drunk as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
That's right. We're gonna talk some spoilers about some of the books that we read because we have no books next week, basically. But yeah, we'll warn you about the spoilers. I'm Jack. And I am a recent convert to comics. I know I already said this, but fuck you, Doug. And I'm here with my co-host, Doug. How was your week, Doug?
My week was great. I saw, let's see, what happened? I saw Into the Spider-Verse, which I don't think you've seen yet, correct?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna try it. I really need to see it.
I need to talk to you about it. It's so good.
I don't know when I'm going to get to see it, honestly. I'm coming to you live from beautiful Provo, Utah. We just drove from LA yesterday. And then I'm going to Minnesota next week. So I'm not going to be back home till the 3rd of January. So I don't know when I'm going to see it. But
by live, you mean not live. I mean, I guess it's live for me. If you're talking to
live
me.
for both of us.
Well, and for you, yeah, I guess that would be weird if somehow you weren't live for you. But
yeah, I don't know.
Confusing.
But also we're probably going to be, we're recording on Sunday right now. We're probably going to be recording, releasing on Sunday too later. It's kind of almost live. It's closer to live than we usually have.
Yeah. Just a very long delay, just a few hours.
Exactly. So how was Spider-Verse? How'd you like it? You posted on Twitter, I know.
Did. And it was. I mean, it was a little hyperbolic, maybe my tweet, but at the same time, it's just an excellent movie. Whether you are, I assume people listening to this are fans of superheroes, but I've been recommending this movie to people who aren't fans of superhero movies.
Really?
A lot of and it's surprising how many people who aren't big comic book movie or film buff people aren't even aware that this movie exists. They haven't seen anything for it, and they were they're oh, there's a new Spider-Man movie out, and they were confused. They didn't understand that it wasn't connected to the other movies, which of course they would be. And so I was just don't worry about it. Just it's if you just really good animated movies, just see this movie. It doesn't matter what your experience is. It's just an excellent. It visually stunning. It's a really touching, well told story. And
what would you say? Because I've been really confused, not confused, but interested in how it can be interesting as the kind of story that it is. I'm interested to know how it is able to be penetrated by people who aren't into comics. You know what I mean?
You mean specifically for people who aren't into comics, how they would be able to parse
how does
the
it
multiverse stuff?
How does it go above and beyond a comic book movie to really be a good quality movie and just without anything else tied to it? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that they're telling a really good human story about Miles. It's all very, obviously the movie is it's centered around Miles, and it's kind of about him coming into his own as Spider-Man. And I think they do a really good job specifically with the multiverse stuff of of kind of leading you by the hand if you're not someone who's familiar with those kind of concepts or stories that really trade on that. They lead you through that, and they play it up in some ways that are really fun. I think whether you're someone who's familiar with that stuff or not, it's hard to put a finger exactly on how they do the multiverse stuff well for a non-comics person, other than like they make it easy to understand. You know,
well, is Miles kind of our person who's like learning all this stuff with us?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a good method to use all the time for sure. Like, I guess, so it's just like written really, really well. And like the animation style obviously is beautiful. Is that basically the big parts of it?
It's like mostly, I would say the appeal of it is on like a technical filmmaking level, but it's done with such like, it just fucking goes, you know, like it's the pacing of that movie is one of its strongest points. It's just like, it's quick and it never dwells too long on one subject unless we're kind of stopping for a moment for an emotional beat, but like it just kind of keeps you going to the next fun bit, one after the next, but like without ever losing kind of the character stuff. And I think, it was really smart of them to do so that we're following Miles, but I was surprised I didn't realize, I don't think this is a spoiler, but, you can't tell from the trailer. They make it look like Miles is the Spider-Man in his universe and Peter Parker is the Spider-Man from another universe, but, in the actual movie, so they basically do the Ultimate Universe in which there was a Peter Parker and now there's not. So there was a Spider-Man before Miles, and so he is now. So there is this established idea of who Spider-Man is, and it's basically what we know from like Peter Parker in like the movies.
Yeah.
They trade a lot on like your knowledge from the Sam Raimi movies and the new ones. So it's really easy. Yeah, it's really easy for you to like use that knowledge as a movie viewer and transition into this.
Because that like really makes it easy for like the general audience. Because those Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were huge, and basically everyone knows the story of Peter Parker. So like it sounds like they're kind of building from that knowledge. Yeah,
yes, they definitely are.
Okay. Wow. I'm super pumped. I'm really mad that I haven't even seen it yet. So yeah, it's gonna be great. I don't know. How is like this? I don't know. I always get weird about. I always feel like I'm specifically into sound and how animated movies use sound and everything. Was the sound editing and mixing like good and like in sync and everything? And I don't know, with how good it looks, was it all like
everything on a technical level? Like I have a very hard time finding really any faults like on a technical level with this movie. The sound editing is excellent. The soundtrack is killer. It's really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Like music or like score? Score, sorry.
It's a mix. It's a bunch of different stuff, but it's like there's like there's scored stuff, and then they're like remixing it as well. And there's I saw some stuff where they were showing that they were like they like scored the movie and then they were like remixing it with like DJ tables and stuff. It's really good. And then
that's awesome. How is John Mulaney?
John Mulaney's very funny. The alternate universe, like the goofy Spider-Man ones, they make a big deal out of them in the trailer, and they're in a bunch of the movie. They're mostly there for comedic effect. And they're like
makes sense.
They're not a huge part of the story. They're in a bunch of it, but but they're very fun. Okay. I was surprised how great. Not surprised, but like I think the highlight for me in terms of the alternate universe Spider-Man was Nick Cage's Spider Noir.
I was gonna ask,
it's so good. They have some very what now?
Does he freak out?
Does he freak out? Oh, like do a Nick Cage freak out?
Movie.
I don't think so, really. I don't think they did that. But he does a very good, like, a surprisingly good, like, noir pastiche voice. It's very funny.
Interesting.
But they do some very funny things with the idea of him being, like, his universe is black and white. And so he's there.
Oh, wow.
And, like, so, like, color is new to him and stuff. It's very funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is going to be great.
It's excellent. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I had a dream last night that, like, we were talking in person about, like, all these movies coming out, comic movies, like Captain Marvel's coming up later, like Aquaman's out now, Spider-Verse is out, and Fantastic Four is coming out in 2 weeks. And I was like, what? Fantastic Four? What are you talking about? And I had, like, had a dream where you were, like, convincing me that Fantastic Four was a movie that was, like, out right now. So that must be something that's coming up soon. Just gonna
that was a premonition.
Premonition. Fun.
All right.
Well, yeah, the only thing exciting for me is that I'm in beautiful Provo, Utah. It is a good place. And, yeah, I'm in a hotel, which is fun.
Fun. Hotels. Yeah. Hotels are good.
That's about it. Okay.
All right.
Doug, if you don't have anything else important to say or anything like that.
I don't, let me think. I mean, well, I got engaged. So, let's move on into news.
Wow. Okay.
We've got the first, okay.
Wait, did you even give yourself space to put the music?
You don't even know. The music just goes.
Wow.
The music just kind of goes wherever.
I'm just going to say congratulations, Doug. This is awesome. Okay. No big deal.
So, Aquaman came out, and we don't really have anything to say about it.
Because we didn't see it.
But just to note that this week, Aquaman came out. It's currently sitting at a 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is good.
Not bad.
Not great, but, like,
it's like what Justice League pulled in, I think.
Oh, no, Justice League was much lower than that.
Oh, really? I thought Justice League was like around 70s.
I don't think that's the case. No, Justice League is at a 40.
Oh, well, I'm lying then.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aquaman, you know, I don't really get the marketing for Aquaman because, like, I saw that there are some that are like kind of comedic in a way. There's some that look very like self-serious to me. I don't know. It's really weird.
I think they were just trying to sell it. They were probably, you know, they're trying to sell it like, hey, we're like the Marvel movies. Look at us. We've got drama and we've got comedy. And so, you know, it probably wasn't leaning too hard in either direction.
Are you seeing it in theaters?
We'll see. I was told by some friends who saw it that, like, the story and like the plot and characters are crap, but that it is one of the most, like, amazing visual spectacles they've seen in a movie in a long time. And that if I'm going to see it, I should see it in IMAX. So by, like, friends whose opinions I trust about movies. But they were saying, like, it was worth it to, like, on a pure just like you know, like Avatar level, like, kind of like just see it because it's a fucking crazy ridiculous spectacle and you won't think about it much afterwards, but but, like, it'll be really fun while you're seeing it. So I'm that really piqued my interest.
What if we tried and see it when I'm with you? We should see it together.
That'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
We should do that.
Okay, we'll put a pin in that. By the way, where are the friends that you trust? Our friends over at Mashing Buttons?
It was Brian saw it with the person who I was asking. But
so
apparently
Brian's opinion.
No, I do trust Brian, but Brian also apparently enjoyed it very, very much. But the person I was specifically talking to was a friend of theirs, who I believe has guested on their show before, Tim.
So he's like our second cousin, like, podcast host.
Yes.
As opposed to our sister podcast.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool.
Cool.
That's nice.
So, what else happened this week?
Hellboy. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm hosting.
Yeah,
right now,
I kind of went into news and started hosting again.
Yeah, whatever. Because you were just eating up all the runtime, Doug. God damn it. Well, the Hellboy trailer dropped for this new Hellboy movie. I don't even know who's directing it. Who's directing it?
Oh boy, I don't. Let me look that up.
We'll just call it some rando. Some rando is directing it. And Sheriff Hopper from Stranger Things is playing Hellboy.
It's being directed. His name. It's being directed by Neil Marshall, who
Neil
did
Marshall.
He did The Descent and Dog Soldiers. So he's done some good stuff.
He did The Descent?
He also has done some crap, but he did do The Descent and Dog Soldiers, which are both great movies.
God damn it! This movie better turn a fucking. Because honestly, this trailer. I did not. I was like watching it the whole time. I was like, okay, they're doing some like light stuff to start it out. That's great. How's it gonna, where we're going? Okay, they're still doing some lighthearted stuff. Okay, where are we going? Okay, that's it.
Yep. Yeah, it seems weird given like that they basically canceled Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy 3 and then they greenlit this one, and like the idea they seemed to be implying was that this one, especially since they got a horror director, like, and the like early images we saw seemed to imply this as well, that this was going to be a darker, more whereas the Guillermo del Toro movies were more leaning in the kind of like action adventure fantasy stuff from Hellboy. This seemed like it was going to be leaning into the more horror influenced stuff from Hellboy, because all that stuff is in Hellboy, but this was going to be leaning more in the horror direction. But this trailer doesn't make an argument for this movie's existence, really, to me. Like, okay, I feel like a lot of what's affecting this is people seeing success of Marvel movies and them attributing that to other comic book movies. And I feel like this is going less in the direction of like an Infinity War or like a more horror centered thing, and more in the direction of like an Ant-Man and the Wasp sort of style. Cause like, I don't get it. I don't get why they would like market it like this if the movie's different. I don't get why they would make this kind of movie at all unless they're thinking, unless they're still in the stupid thinking of, it's a comic book movie, we have to have humor. Which they can have humor, but you should have humor. Like, I don't think any movie should be completely devoid of humor. But like, it's just the fact that it seems so goofy, and that's not. It's not at all what I was expecting from this, and I don't think they pull it off particularly well. Is more the thing. I didn't think anything landed, like humor-wise. If the jokes in this trailer had landed for me, I would have at least gone like, okay, not what I was expecting, but like Hellboy can be funny. Like Hellboy can be a funny character, like the Guillermo del Toro movies
and who knows? Like maybe the stuff around him will be horror, and he'll just react to it, like Hellboy.
Which is kind of Hellboy. But I don't know. It's weird.
It's just like there's not much to say about it for me. Like I really want to read more horror focused stories in Hellboy, so I'm excited to start up. Do you know when like it starts going into more horror? Or is it right at the start?
I mean, it's all peppered. Kind of the same thing from the start. Not the same thing, but like I don't think it's drastically changed all that much since it started in terms of tone. It's always kind of been that tone. It's a very horror series, but then like with the levity coming from the characters reacting to that stuff sometimes. So I don't know. I find a really hard time. I have a really hard time finding specifically the makeup they have David Harbour in this. Funny. There's something about it that's just so grotesque that like he doesn't. I don't know, he feels intimidating when he's being funny in a way that detracted from the jokes, I feel like. Because David Harbour's a funny dude. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't get that, but I mean, I can see that being a thing. I mean, I could also see that being a thing that could work well in a movie and not necessarily in a trailer.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also wonder how much of this is the marketing, being not totally following the tone of the movie, but we'll see. I'm not sure. It seems
really disjointed and like really like it doesn't seem like it's telling a smooth story. It just seems like, okay, this is a moment, which makes me happy because it makes me feel like it is a better movie than what it's putting out
like
to
that
be.
These moments don't work because they're taken completely out of context.
Yeah, but then again, like then it makes me sad because like when a studio mismarkets a movie, they're gonna think like, oh, it's not making money. It's not because of our marketing team. We're the best. Must be this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate those thoughts. Yeah. It sucks. It's like what is it? Annihilation. Remember that movie last year? Mm-hmm. How Paramount didn't market it at all, then took it out of theaters like 2 weeks after because they had it on Netflix? Motherfuckers. The movie is great. Sorry.
Did
you ever actually see that movie?
Oh, that movie is very good. I love that movie.
Love that fucking movie.
Excellent movie.
It's great.
Anyways.
In any case, yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I think I'm good on news here.
Okay. We didn't have a lot of news. Nothing much happened. I mean, I think some stuff happened in the real world. Like, what is it? We're in a government shutdown. Isn't that crazy? We're wild and crazy.
Yeah, great. Fun. All right.
Anarchy on the streets.
Yep.
I see people in Utah throwing their things out I don't know, whatever. Let's move on to weekly comics. Okay, so we had a few books this week. We actually, you know what's funny? I just realized I was looking at our lists, and we shared less books than either of us had alone.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, and I'm very proud of myself for trying... Well, actually, no, I'm not proud of myself for trying new things at this point, because I have way too much. But it was nice this week. Nonetheless, we both had cover number 4, Freedom Fighters number 1, Gideon Falls number 9, Justice League number 14, Marvel Knights 20th anniversary number 4. I had, alone, the ending of Life of Captain Marvel, number 5 of that, which was wonderful. So excited. The Warning number 2, which I'm dropping. Night Moves number 2, which is great. And Hardcore number 1, which I tried this week. And I'm not going to continue. It's cool concepts, but there's some things, I don't know. This is the first book, and I'm sorry, just a little note. Okay. This is the first book that I've noticed, like, I like the concept and the story, and I like kind of where it's going, but I don't like the scripting. I don't like what they say, and there's problems with it.
I have, that's a lot of times what turns me off. I feel like a lot of times, favor the scripting over the plotting in terms of like which one is going to like be the thing that's going to get me to stick with the story. It's more often the scripting than it is like where the plot is going.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense because like the scripting is where all the minutia is done, where all the little notes, and that's like I don't know, that's a lot of what I enjoy in comics. Like, ooh, why are they saying this? Oh, it's being brought up here. Like that's honestly the good writing.
They're both necessary.
They are.
But yeah, definitely like a bad script, even with a killer plot, can totally kill your interest in a story. But
totally. What'd you read alone, Doug?
I read Amazing Spider-Man number 12, American Carnage number 2, Batman number 61, Captain America number 6, Pearl number 5, and The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, The Tempest number 3.
Oh,
ooh,
very nice. I want to know about specifically 2 books that you're reading.
Okay.
I want to know about Captain America.
May or may not have read the specific books that you're going to ask about. I read our shared books, and I had time to read like Spider-Man and Batman. So, unless it's about those books, I don't got it for you.
It's not like you were doing anything else important this week, like getting engaged. No. Jesus. Okay, whatever. I'm over it. I'll ask you later, I guess. Okay, so Doug, can you give us a spoiler warning, please? Oh, that's so nice. Look at that. Did you know, this is a completely random point, so there's this Spanish language music performer who Samantha and I love named Mon Laferte. Look her up. She's great.
Okay.
She has a song called Ron Roneo, and we learned that like rolling your R's and saying Roneo is like a cat purring in Spanish. Isn't that crazy?
And saying Roneo?
Roneo.
That's how they say a cat purrs?
I think it's like, our meow. They're saying,
okay, sure. Yeah. I always find that stuff fascinating, like how different languages like have different words for what animals say, because that stuff is so ingrained into your head that you don't even think about it. You're just like, oh yeah, a cat says meow, even though it fucking doesn't.
No,
it doesn't say that those letters at all. It's just for some reason that's what we have in our heads to like, because you can't spell it out with letters, and so then you hear a different language as one, you're like, haha, isn't that silly? But it makes just as fucking much sense.
Oh, totally. Yeah, definitely. In the same vein, I've always wanted to learn sign language that is for a different language, not American Sign Language.
Oh, sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. I bet that's fascinating. But my favorite one is roosters in Spanish
Oh.
go kikiriki.
What?
Kikiriki.
What? Kikiriki.
Kikiriki.
That's like an Arrested Development like chicken noise.
Yeah. A little bit.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Kikiriki. I'm gonna remember that one. Okay. Well, thank you for your spoiler warning. We're in spoilers. I really want to talk about Freedom Fighters first.
Yeah.
It's the start of something new. That's a High School Musical song.
So, yeah.
Go ahead, Doug. Let's hear it. I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay. Freedom Fighters #1, start of the new series about the Freedom Fighters. A group
12 issues.
Yep, 12-issue miniseries. So, maxi series? They call it a maxi series.
Maxi.
Which,
maxi
whatever.
pad.
Difference is silly. Marketing thing. But, so this series, written by Robert Venditti, who did, I think the only thing you've read by him was Hawkman. Which lately I've been seeing a bunch of people just fucking talking about how good Hawkman is, and it's making me really get FOMO. Because, like, there's really good stuff about that series, but also nothing fucking happens in it. I don't know.
But one thing I did hear that you know how we were kind of thinking like, okay, if he stays with Adam, what's his name? Adam?
Ray Palmer?
The Adam? Ray Palmer.
Yeah, the Adam.
It's just the Adam, right?
The Adam.
I was like, Adam Man? No, it's not Adam Man. The Adam. We were like, at the end of it, that's where I dropped off.
Yeah,
where he was,
I really wish I had
in the
picked up that
microverse.
issue. I just had a really heavy week that week, I think.
No, I know, but also I heard people say they had a team up for the whole arc. So that would have been really cool, and that's exactly what I wanted.
I know. Ugh.
I can't,
jealous.
Can't do it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I might have to go back and get it. But anyways.
Freedom Fighters.
So I totally forgot until this book came out that Eddie Barrows was doing the art on this book, and Eddie Barrows is awesome. I love Eddie Barrows.
Fucking love it.
It's great. But I want to hear your thoughts on this book.
Oh. Okay. Well, I really loved this book. I thought it was awesome. I think, like, starting out in the 1960s or something with the whole revolution, it really gets you into the time zone. I think it's drawn in such in a really cool way, like, that it feels like spy and, like, everything like that, like espionage sort of stuff. And I don't know, I really liked how they introduced the characters, because I don't know a lot about the characters at all. But, like, now I know their names. It's, what is it? Jesse Owens, the Olympic medalist, Dollman, Human Bomb, and what was the other? Black Condor.
Jesse Owens is a real person.
No, I know that. Okay. I didn't know he was a character also in these things.
I think he dies in this. So.
He does die.
Yes.
Well, that was one of the things that I loved about this, because I didn't know anything about the marketing or anything like that. So, like, in the middle, when they are set upon by plastic men all over the place, which is a fucking cool scene, I think. And so sinister looking when they're like, "Ooh, will you come with it?" It's like, I don't know. I can't do a German accent. But I loved that. I think that was really, really cool. And then, like, when they are set upon by them, captured, and then fucking executed, it was very shocking. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then they have a huge time jump to 55 years later to present day, is what I figured out, I guess. Which, I don't know, I'm really excited to see how they, like, inspire more hope in people. And I just think, like, the whole crafts behind it is really, really cool, and how they're structuring the story, how the art is done, and how they, like, write this totalitarian state in a present day where, you know, you can't sustain people in concentration camps forever and ever. It has to be some sort of, like, police state sort of thing, which they sort of allude to in the present day. And I'm really excited for them to work in that area and to, I don't know, to see what the whole deal is. I feel like we know what the end goal is, obviously, but I feel like I don't know what their end goal is in this series. Like, what are they going to accomplish in 12 issues? You know?
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I think it's great. I'm interested to see when Uncle Sam actually comes back into play, because I feel like it's not going to be till, like, halfway into the story. Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. Venditti seems to tell, generally, I don't know if this issue really falls into that, but generally it's fairly decompressed stories. Like, Hawkman was extremely decompressed, which was part of the reason I fell off of it. But So I feel like it could be a while, bit of a slow burn until, I was going to say Captain America, Uncle Sam comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking ridiculous. I love that Uncle Sam is just a fucking character in
it's great
DCU.
Oh my god.
It works especially well in like, if we're doing an alternate universe thing like this. But,
totally.
But, yeah. So before I get into my thoughts, just a fun little note that I forgot to bring up when we first brought up this book, or more confusing than, okay, so there's this cover, and we've got this janitor, this Nazi janitor, and he is on the cover so there's a big Uncle Sam poster where he's saying, I want you to fight back. And he's painting a Nazi symbol over it. I think this is the symbol of their government. I don't know.
He's painting the Nazi symbol over the flipping off.
Over his middle finger. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's painting that in red. Then we go into the first page here, which I assume is a direct continuation of this scene in which he's standing there and he's peeling off the poster.
So why paint it?
So why did he paint over his finger? Because you see in the first panel here, he did paint that. There's a big red circle.
I don't know what to tell you. It was really weird to me too. Because maybe he just like was doing it just for the hell of it, but then he's like complaining, they're making me do more work.
Yeah, about how they like gave him work to do to tear down this poster, but he completely unnecessarily painted this janitor.
I think the idea is don't think about it.
I know I shouldn't think about it. It's a dumb detail. And if you ignore the cover, but they did put that symbol in the book. I'm so confused. Anyways,
I would if they wanted to do some. I know, but if they wanted to do something like that, why wouldn't they just have that symbol on there already and not have the janitor be painting it? You know,
why wouldn't they just not have the symbol be in the book and just have him be tearing down the poster, and then it's just like, oh, they're just two different ideas about the same thing or whatever. But
well, you know, they wanted a cover, I think, where they had him like flipping off, but they don't want to flip off like.
Well, yes,
you know,
for sure. But then they wanted the dramatic. Why don't they have him painting it and complaining about how much? I don't know. Anyways, okay, getting real sidetracked by that one.
Let's hear about your thoughts, Doug.
I found it very hard to connect with this book.
Really?
I think it was the script. Like we were talking about earlier. I don't know. I have a hard time exactly putting my finger on it, other than the detail that they say the word ratsy every other fucking word in this book.
That's what they call Nazis.
But they never say the word Nazi. And it's not like
a derogatory term.
Okay, but everyone says it every time they refer to a Nazi, and they they say it all the time. Also, they say it's not. I thought for a little bit, I was like, maybe DC doesn't want them to say the word Nazi in this book or something for some weird reason. But in the beginning of this book, it says, "Welcome to Earth X, where Nazi Germany's metahuman war machine conquered the planet." So they can put the word Nazi. So unless they were like limited to that one like historical thing or whatever, but like I feel like that must be it. I found it obnoxious. Anyways, that was just a slight annoyance. But for some reason, I'm not really sure why. I just didn't really connect with much of what was happening in this book. It just maybe I would care more once we get it. I assume we'll get more character stuff in future issues once we're with the actual, because it's all set up. Like we meet the actual characters of this book right at the end. So maybe I should give it another issue, but it's just... I mean,
I would say so. I can see what you're... Like, I thought that was some of the scripting was weird, specifically for the people that aren't the heroes. I don't know why it was, but like, when like the main characters were talking or like the bad guys were talking, I thought it was fine. But then when people were like interacting with like the freedom fighters and the old people and the people interacting with the freedom fighters in the present day, I thought it was really weird how they were talking specifically. Like, the one they were saying like, oh, remember when we were younger? I thought that was like particularly not well scripted.
Yeah.
But that's kind of makes me like think like, okay, but they're not main characters. And they're not going to be a part of the whole thing. I don't know. I'm definitely going to give it another one, because I love the art. I love where it's, I think it was a good setup.
The art is excellent, and I like the story conceptually. I think it's just that it's a little heavy-handed. The dialogue's all a little bit on the nose,
Okay.
But and I just don't know that it gave you all that much. Like, yes, it gave you the twist in that it killed the characters, but like, I didn't get to know those characters at all, so I don't know that it meant all that much to me. I don't know. I just kind of came away with it being like, okay.
I don't know.
Right.
I thought they built up their fame a little bit, like when they were like in that first scene. I don't know. I thought they built up their fame enough to where it's like, oh, okay, these are going to be the main characters. Oh, they got fucking murdered. Like, I don't know. I
get that. I just don't know, like, what my takeaway from that is. Like, other than they want to do this thing where now we're in the modern day and they're picking it back up again. But, like, I don't know what they accomplished or did back in the day that, like, makes that segment important to this. Other than the detail that Uncle Sam disappeared and hasn't been seen since, and is probably going to come back.
I mean, it was 1963 there. Like, I have to know that they were huge parts in between, like, the mid-40s and
No, they definitely were, but we don't see any of that. We just see them show up, and they make them seem like a big deal, but I mean, in a storytelling context, like, I haven't seen anything that makes me care about whether they live or die, And
I gotcha.
Anyways, I don't know. It felt slight on a like character standpoint, in a way that kind of I didn't really connect all that much, but
I can understand that for sure. Yeah.
Anyways, but that's great that you liked it, and I will probably give it another based on that to see if it gets any more interesting for me. But
okay, nice. Very good. Okay, well, I just want to also talk about Justice League, because this was the start of a new arc. So I like the story of this arc.
Yeah.
I think speaking of scripting's just all over the place today. It was kind of like just a lot of exposition, and that is not a strong point for Scott Snyder.
I feel like that's been kind of a marker of a lot of his Justice League stuff. It's a lot of just like explaining constantly, because he's doing such big concepts, and so he spends the entire issue all the time explaining exactly what's happening to you, and like the character stuff, I feel like has a lot of the time been that, where the characters are telling you, and I'm struggling with this because of this and this. And it's just like, okay, can you stop spelling everything out to me? Just let me like imply it. Let something be like implied sometimes. Like
That said, though, I did enjoy the story on this thing, and I thought it was really good. Like, I'm really excited to learn more about like what they're covering up and everything like that, and like what is going on with this Martian lady, and I don't know. I'm interested in what the plot is, and I'm also interested in this Starman stuff that's just randomly kind of rearing its head now again. I mean, it's just like, I feel like that was just like there for a long time, and then we didn't talk about it at all through Drowned Earth, and now it's just like, oh, okay, it's a thing now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Starman is that?
So this is the Starman from the 90s. So, or wait,
wasn't Starman in the 90s Jack Knight?
No, I think he was like end of the 90s, early 2000s. Let me double check that. But, he was the Starman who was Starman in like he's completely unconnected to any of the other Starman men. He doesn't have powers related to them even. He's just another dude who goes by Starman, basically, who uses that name. Huh. Like, he was basically a reboot of the character before, with David Knight, Jack Knight's brother, they went back to the original lineage of Starman. Starman, Will Payton, I think is his name.
Will Payton.
They I will tell you, they deal with all of the Starmen in James Robinson's Starman.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always really, really interested in how that whole thing works, because it sounds like there's a fuck ton of people who have Star in their name and who are related to each other.
Yeah, there are. And
they're actually okay.
Yeah, they deal with that in that series in some really interesting ways. I will say it's.
Well, I'm very, very excited. I'm through that first volume, but I have some more to go. Definitely.
Yeah, this one specifically. His original origin story. He was struck. What is he? He's a copy editor, and then he was struck with a beam from a satellite intended for the secret agents known as the Power Elite.
Oh.
It gave him solar-like powers, like heat and light control, as well as the ability to fly and super strength. Anyways.
And give people sunburns.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an odd... I find it fascinating that they picked him for this. I don't really entirely understand why it's Will Payton, but sure.
Okay. And then I guess he's about to blow up. So
yeah, he's gonna explode.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
We feel so defeated from this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this damn thing anymore, and I want to like it.
Yeah, I know.
And I do find the story interesting, and I want to see where the story goes. I'm invested in it, but and I feel like they've set up. I don't know. I feel like he sets up so many long-term like status quo things that are going to be crumbling down like near the end of his run. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I feel like shit's going to go down on Thanagar at some point. I feel like shit's going to go down like everywhere, but I'm just not getting any of that shit yet. You know? And I feel like, and the way he's talking about the shit that's going down now doesn't make me feel like he's going to follow through on all that shit going down in the best way. So it's like a dick tease that's not going to be a bigger dick than anything you've had before. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. Great.
Sorry. I just thought that was a good way to explain it. Nonetheless, Justice League was a thing, and it happened. And I mean, I'm gonna keep going on it. You know,
I like Jim.
Whatever.
Chung. What is it? Jim? Is that his first name?
Jim Chung. I really like the art.
Jim Chung's art is always a treat. We don't see him all that much on this series. We got like the first issue and maybe another issue at some point. I don't think he did the second issue, but like he's done like 3 issues, or 4, maybe so far.
I feel like, didn't he do the art on that one where they were talking about the Hall of Justice? I think
maybe, I don't remember.
I thought that was him. Whatever. Okay, another book that I just don't really know how to feel about. Is Marvel Knights. I really liked this issue, probably more than the last issue.
Oh, for sure. I think this was maybe the best issue of this series so far. Yeah.
I just don't know what I'm getting out of it. Like, I like the idea of Black Panther, even if he doesn't know who he is, like doing all this stuff to like help people, to like, I don't know, that he just has something in him that he needs to get out, sort of thing. I like that idea. I just don't like, I want more overarching stuff from this, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just was expecting something different from this series than what it actually was. Because, like, I thought that at the setup of the first 2 issues, it was going to be a lot of, you know, overarching plot. Yeah. But these last 2 issues were not that. So I'm not like, I don't know. I just confused, I guess, as to how I'm supposed to read this book, you know, this series.
I mean, it's all of their journeys towards them all teaming up. Like, rather than it being all of them going around as a team, gathering more people, it's kind of like we are getting their individual stories as they are led towards the group. And, like, that is the overarching story. It's all happening fairly concurrently. I
guess one of the things that I wish would have happened in this issue, because they set up, you know, okay, we have to get our next person. Does anyone know how to pronounce this? And it has, you know, T'Challa on there. And that was the last issue, the setup into this one. I guess I wish that setup would have been followed through a little bit, so I'd have felt more like something was happening. Because, like, the last page of this one was like, I didn't really, like, he comes in on a a big room of people doing sciencey things with Wilson Fisk there. Like, I don't really know, like, oh, they're doing something evil. Like, I don't really know what was I supposed to get from that.
Well, he's been building his own supervillain army. He's been, like, letting the supervillains back in on the secret that they were supervillains. Like, we've got Shocker and Crossbones and this character.
I think Doc Ock is there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be Doc Ock or not up at the top. Maybe. I feel like it is. But Taskmaster is the guy with the blue and gold outfit there.
But I get that. But, like, also the last time we saw Wilson Fisk, he was bowing to Dr. Doom. I didn't think he knew anything about what was going down.
Yeah, it's a little... Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, my confusion in that,
Yeah, I get it. Like, there's not a lot of follow-through on the, like, the forward momentum of the series because they keep doing flashback stuff, but...
Mm-hmm. Like, I like it, and I enjoy it while I'm reading it and everything, but, like, I don't know. There's just something that doesn't tie me into it. Like, I just wish there's more care. Like, even in the last issue, I thought there was more care to be put into place that you felt like it was moving in the regular plot still. A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one, like, I thought it was a better in all, but it didn't clue me into what was going on in general.
Yeah. I think its place in the series at large is confusing, or not confusing, but just kind of slightly frustrating. But I think that, like, as an issue, as a story in and of itself, I really found T'Challa, like, living his life in New York and, like, struggling to get by to be really interesting. Like,
you know what?
Scammed by this lawyer and who, like, makes it seem like he's helping him, but then he's totally not on his side at all.
Is that a character too, by the way? Ben Donovan?
I assume he is. I don't recall him.
Okay.
What was his name?
Ben Donovan, isn't it?
Ben Donovan? Okay. I'll look it up.
I thought that was it. But, like, okay, I just thought to myself, I think this would have been a much better number 2 issue.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
I just think it would have been, because we're at 4 of 6. There are only 2 more issues in this whole series.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I would have rather had that, what we had as our second issue, be like this issue, the 4th issue. You know what I mean? Have the Punisher issue be the 3rd one, the 2nd one. Then again, that might be a little bit tiresome, like, not getting to the main story to, like, the 4th issue. But, like, I feel like that'd just be structured better. And I feel like the good writing of these things would make me happier with, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a writer.
I do wish they had, like, if this was a single flashback and the last one hadn't also been largely flashback, like, yeah, I think it would have, like, it would have been less frustrating. But, yeah, Ben Donovan is apparently a pre-existing character. He is, he's what he is in this. He's a lawyer for criminals, basically.
Okay.
But he in the Daredevil TV show, he is Kingpin's lawyer. He is the skeevy lawyer.
Oh, is he a white guy in that?
No, he's a black guy.
Do you remember who I'm talking about? The guy that was, like, doing all this shit that got spoilers for season 1 of Hellboy, who got shot by Karen? Or not Hellboy, sorry, Daredevil season 1.
No, not that guy. He is a very, like, he's, like, very, like, I don't know how to say it. This very smooth talking, older black man with gray hair. Does he have a mustache? I think he has a mustache. Anyways, he's a very recognizable character if you, like, saw him in that show. All
right. Okay. I mean, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Is he more in this 3rd season? Because I've just watched 1 episode or 2 episodes. Or
I know he was in the 3rd season a bunch. I don't remember how much he was in the previous seasons.
Okay. Well, that's that.
Anyways.
But, yeah, I mean, that's about all I have to say about Marvel Knights. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna keep going, obviously, but
yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it's actually going and how Dr. Doom even comes into this, because he's been nowhere.
Yeah, that's a little frustrating, but whatever.
What can you do?
Well, yeah. Well, we'll see more of him, I am sure. So,
can you tell me non-spoilers about Batman of what you're reading these days?
Batman is interesting here. So we're in an arc called Nightmares with a K, of course. So it's going to be a bunch of basically one-off stories about like different ways Batman's life could have gone wrong.
So Dark Knight's Metal?
No, because it's basically just the actual stories. Like, here's a story of like how, like a nightmare about how Batman's life could have gone wrong, and we're just like just telling that. Like, it's not like it sounds like there is going to be some sort of like story building off of that. Like as we go along, like Wired. Apparently, Batman is experiencing these somehow, and so he's got to find and confront whoever's making him experience them. Anyways, it was interesting. There's some interesting stuff in it, but like hard to tell exactly what I'm supposed to get away from, get out of it until I see maybe another one or two of these, because they're apparently going to do a few of these.
Interesting. Who's art on Batman still? Is it still Clayman?
It's been different artists every arc. This issue, I don't know if every issue in this arc is going to be the same, since they're kind of one shot, sort of. What is his name? It's Moore. His name is
Alan Moore.
It's Alan Moore doing art on this series. It is Travis Moore. So it was good. Art was good. It's been Clayman, Mikel Janin, and some Lee Weeks on this series. Lots of great artists. But what'd you say?
I said weak.
Like
that thing that kids say.
It's a weird arc. It's hard to say anything about at least the current arc, but it's been great up until now. Like they've been doing some really great stuff in the wake of the wedding stuff. With Batman's character. Yes, they've been using it to very good effect.
Speaking of stuff like the wedding, I just got Batman Hush at the store recently, because Samantha hasn't read it, so I'm super excited, because I read the first issue of that. It's so good. It's just so good. And but yeah, okay, interesting. I mean, I just still see people like hating on Batman all the time.
People are just fucking. People are too fucking close to this shit. Like they get real invested in like Batman and Catwoman need to get married, or you've scammed us. And it's like, fucking people, chill. He's still telling the damn story. And I think that like the story he's telling is still really interesting and good. And I don't understand why people get so fucking up in arms about that, about like not agreeing with what you do to a character. Like what he is doing is interesting. So who cares if it is, like, you gotta stop thinking of these characters as real people.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, some people, like, they are on Batman, the Batman title, no matter what, right?
I don't understand that. That is just something that, like, why would you read a book that you don't like? Why would you read a book just to complain about it? Like, it's not a real person. You can skip a bit of their life and come back to it later when it's good again. And you're not lesser for that. Like, you're not less of a Batman fan. Like, I think, if anything, you're a better Batman fan for not, like, just reading something to hate on it. I don't get it. It confuses me.
I get what you mean. Okay,
whatever.
I get what you mean. Speaking of another character that everyone loves, how's Amazing Spider-Man? Because I still need to get, like, I want to get the first trade of this arc. I want to hear from you, like, should I be on this?
You should. This is excellent. Like, I keep thinking about going back and reading more of the Slott. Dan Slott stuff. And, like, I liked that stuff. I didn't like it as much as I like this stuff.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is the sense of humor. I find Dan Slott's sense of humor a little bit grating.
Okay.
And I think that Nick Spencer has a much like sharper kind of sense of wit in this book, and
Interesting.
I think it meshes a lot better. We're in a J.J. Jameson centric arc right now, and it's
nice.
great because J.J. they turned him into kind of like in the Spider-Man game. He's like a
radio host,
like a belligerent radio host. But the twist here is per an event that happened before Nick Spencer took on writing duties. Jonah knows who Spider-Man is and is actually on his side now. So he's on his show yelling at people about how much of a hero Spider-Man is. And then people like call him out. They're like, didn't you like call him a murderer and like a criminal and shit? Like
for decades.
Like for decades. And he just like screams at them that they're wrong. Because he's fucking JJ.
I love that.
But
that's awesome.
But so it's basically like JJ like thinking he's Spider-Man's friend and then like but just causing more fucking trouble for him. And it's great. Kingpin's a part of this. He's mayor in the Marvel New York currently.
Shit.
And so he's a fairly integral part of this series. It's great. It's everything you want from Spider-Man. It's funny. It's fun. Like there's great character work in it. They're doing some good character dramatic stuff with JJ in this, and I'm a big fan of this series.
That's good. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to. There's probably like 2 trades out by now, or somewhat soon. Are they on a break soon at all?
I don't know. I don't think major Marvel DC books really do trade breaks like that.
Trade breaks.
They'll take a break they'll take like a month off every once in a while, but like not very often.
Okay.
Usually more often than not they just change artists. This one has been alternating. They've been doing like 5-issue arcs with different artists on each arc. So it was Ryan Otley for the first arc. Humberto Ramos for the second arc, and then they're back on Ryan Otley again. And Ryan Otley is wonderful, and I'm happy he is on this book.
Okay.
Anyways, so yeah, you should definitely read this book at some point.
I'm gonna try and do it soon. I have a lot to read. I
know.
It's just a lot. I've read so much this week. Actually, apart from it, I read like all of Descender. Not all of it, but like I read 3 books.
Wow.
Of Descender this weekend. So that was crazy. But it's just a lot. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to go about it. But yeah, no, probably soon, because they probably have 2 trades out, and I think I can sink my teeth into that pretty easily. Doug, how about we talk about something that we're actually really happy about? And both, like, let's talk about Gideon Falls, is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes, Gideon Falls. I think this book is it's just so good. Every single fucking issue. And it's amazing to me. Like, how good and different Jeff Lemire can be in so many different titles. Speaking of Descender, speaking of things like Black Hammer, speaking of things like fucking Royal City, is so fucking it seems like he can do no wrong. Like, when he is independently creating something to his own vision, at least. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
I love this shit. And I think, like, the place it goes, it feels like it's always surprising, but it shouldn't have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it always, like, whenever they do a reveal, you're like, oh, okay. Like, it's surprising, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, and this art is just something that's always so great to me. Like, I want to know, is it Andrea Sorrentino doing this art, panel structure, or is it something else? Who does that? Who does panel structure in a book?
It's the artist.
It's the artist?
Yeah, Andrea Sorrentino would be doing that. Sometimes books will have someone doing layouts, but that's generally on just like a giant team project thing. Like 52 did that, where like Keith Giffen did all the layouts, and then the individual artists would then do the art in the panels. But like No, like generally 99% of the time, the artist is laying out the book. Like depending on how detailed a writer's script is, like they could tell them like, this is a wide shot, this is a whatever, this is a big panel, a small panel, but that also is dependent on how detailed the scripter is and if they want to get involved in that or not. I get the vibe Jeff Lemire is, I don't know this, but I get the vibe that he's a little more hands off in that department, and he just kind of lets the artist kind of go.
I just feel like this book is so tied in with how the panel structure works and how it's like telling the story through that.
Yeah.
That he can't not be involved. I don't know. It's just so weird to me. And now this new stuff, like I love that how we're relating Norton Sinclair with the priest story and the actual like story in Gideon Falls. Wait, I keep forgetting. Is Gideon Falls the name of the city? City that Norton's in?
No. Gideon Falls is the name of the town that Father Ted? Fred? What is his name? Fred. Father Fred is in Gideon Falls. That is the small town.
I love them relating those two stories now, though, and fucking apparently... I want to give you my theory. I think Norton Sinclair, the one that we've come to know as Norton Sinclair, I think that dude is the missing son, right? I think that's the implication here. And I think that after his fucking shit in the barn and everything, I think he, like, melded or something, or maybe he just took up the name Norton Sinclair because he heard it, like, in the barn or something like that. I don't know. I don't think he's the murderer.
Okay. Yeah, because they dropped these dual kind of hints in this issue that he is either the missing brother, son character, or he is this town's let's see, the first murderer. Which sounds ridiculous. How old is this town?
I mean, it's a small town. You don't have, like a lot of murders going on, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, I feel like someone had to have been murdered before that, but whatever.
I mean, maybe there's also something like where it's like there's people disappearing and murdering and everything, but people don't talk about it. And this was one that they couldn't ignore. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, unless this implication was that like this was a long time ago or something that he lived. I don't know. It's unclear at this point. But I am interested how much it seems like they're building up Norton, the last issue or two here, to be kind of the villain of this story, which is not how it had seemed before. But it does feel like we are slowly moving in that direction. Like we're getting this, like he is directly at odds with what the people in Gideon Falls are trying to do. And what he's trying to do is not good. Don't do that.
Like he's trying to build the doorway right now.
He is trying to like summon or build he's trying to build the Black Barn.
I mean, I just don't even know what to think though, because like we really don't know that much.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. Like maybe building a physical barn makes it somehow able to be beat, though. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what he thinks he's
being
doing.
Told to do this by the evil demon thing who speaks to him from the dark.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Who they saw? I think they saw that dude in the barn when they were in there. When the people
at some
from
point,
Gideon Falls were in there.
At least a flash of him, I think.
Yeah, which that dude fucking gives me nightmares. Ugh, terrible.
What if it turns out to be the bat who laughs?
All right, well, I'm done reading this book then.
But yeah, no, that book continues to be great. Can we talk about also cover number 4? Like this one, like this issue of cover made me feel like more that it's not okay. You remember how we were talking about how cover felt like a self-fulfilling like fantasy sort of thing?
That was always the worry about it.
The worry.
I don't know that it was necessarily how it always seemed when you were reading the book.
No. But we were talking about how it seemed more so in the second, and I don't know about the third issue, but the second issue seemed more so because there were like multiple comic book people that were, becoming these.
Oh yeah. I remember.
This one, there was a moment where like I forgot what it was. I think it maybe when Max Fields, our main character, was talking to, is it Julie or Julia?
I think it's Julia.
When he was talking to Julia, and I feel like there was some lighthearted moment where it made it seem like they were making a joke about how comic book artists shouldn't do this or something like that. Mm-hmm. How it was like a dumb idea. And that made me feel a little bit better about it. I don't know. Yeah. I love this issue though, and I think it's a great issue. The art was like all over the place also though too. Like, what was with that stick figures part?
Oh yeah, where he's like a weird little bathroom symbol.
What the fuck? Person? Like I liked it, but like, what the fuck? Where would that come from?
I don't know. I don't know why it was like that, but
that's so weird. I thought
it was weird. I liked it. Like, I don't know why it meant something. I don't know what.
I thought maybe it might have to do with the fact that like maybe this is supposed to be like a general sort of like comic book artists are usually people who are bullied, and like then someone like finds their work good, and so they're motivated to keep doing it. Maybe it was supposed to be a way to relate Assad Sins, the guy who's beating up Max, and saying like they're kind of the same, and that's, I don't know, that's how they can relate to each other sort of thing, and how they can turn him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah,
maybe, and maybe it was, I think also maybe part of it was so that it was sort of a reveal who these characters were in this scene. I'm not sure. It was there for a purpose, but whatever it was, I thought it was fun. But yeah, so this issue for me was kind of the one that the most actually made kind of why it's both a thing about comic books and a thing about spies kind of click for me.
Okay, let's hear it.
So this is a book where Brian Michael Bendis is just writing about his experience and his feelings as a comic book writer and a person who kind of lives his life around comic books.
Okay.
And we're telling it through the lens of spy storytelling. Basically, it's there to heighten the drama. Like this, but primarily this is a book about his experience as a comic writer. Like that is what this book is about. Not about Brian Michael Bendis as a spy. It's about Brian Michael Bendis as a comic or David Mack or whoever this character is supposed to be, as a comic creator, and we're telling it through this lens of spies, because it heightens the drama, it heightens the tension, and allows us to make a story about that, like, just more exciting and more interesting. But
I could see that. Wow.
I think that's the twist, just to kind of heighten it a little bit. But like all of this stuff, all the spy stuff where he's like, I figured out also who I think this Assad Sins is, and it's very obvious. I had an inkling, but I think this is supposed to be...
I always think of Assad Rabik.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Assad Rabik. I looked up a picture. It is actually? I think so. I looked up a picture of him, and it is him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He does not look like a terrifying, scowling menace like this, but he is a big, stocky dude with dark black hair, thick eyebrows, and a big, like, goatee like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Damn.
I think it is supposed to be him. But yeah, I got that vibe. They showed, like, one of his sequences or whatever a few issues ago, or last issue or something, and it was, like, big epic action scene where a million things were all happening at once, and I was like, his name is Assad. Is this Assad Rabik?
Yeah.
So I think that's who it's supposed to be, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like focusing in on kind of like how the spy stuff is like a vehicle for him to just give kind of thoughts and feelings, vibes about like being a comic creator and growing up around comics and being around comics. Like,
yeah.
I think that just makes it work more for me, focusing more on that aspect of it.
I do really like that. Also, I think it makes sense his sort of subplot of trying something new with his art and no one really liking it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the same thing as like him trying to be a spy, but not really doing well at it.
For sure.
So far.
Yeah.
Interesting. I really like that. I think I was starting to kind of get that, but I think you saying it sort of makes it in my head make a little more sense. Like, that's, wow, I like that a lot. What do you think the implication is at the end when he's drawing Julia?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be that he's falling in love with her, or that he's like, I'm not sure.
Just constantly thinking about her too, maybe. I don't know, like constantly thinking about the spy stuff as opposed to the art. I don't know.
It's maybe like, okay, this is a shot in the dark here. This is me thinking aloud at the moment.
Okay.
So if Bendis moving to DC is a big new creative move for him, in the way that this character in this story is trying to do a new creative thing with his work, that everyone's kind of a little confused about. Everyone in the creative community around him is kind of confused about. And he's trying to do this spy thing, and he's not sure if he's very good at it, but he's trying to do it. Yeah. And his former, not coworker, but colleague, who is a creator who we know works largely for Marvel. I think if we're talking about Julia as a symbol of his career or his attempts at being a spy and kind of the allure of that, maybe this is like him like falling in love with working at DC.
Kind of lost me there.
His new kind of direction he's bringing his career, his like creative career in.
So I think that that's somewhere there. I think you're right.
It's somewhere in that area. I feel like there is a metaphor going on here about him changing directions in his creative career through this move over from Marvel, and like that the spy thing represents him trying to do something new in this new kind of part of his career.
How about this? What if him trying to do something new is the DC stuff?
Yeah, I mean,
No.
Oh.
1 second.
Okay.
1 second. Him trying, like, his creative trying to do something new is his DC stuff. And the spy stuff is stuff that he felt like he was getting put into when he was getting bigger and bigger at Marvel. Like, something based off of his previous career that has become sort of not what he ever wanted to do, actually. Does that make sense?
But he wasn't doing spy stuff before. That's entirely new for him.
It is entirely new, but she approached him because of her fan, like, because of his success with Ninja Sword Odyssey, the thing he's been doing forever and ever. That's why I feel like it's related to, like, what he was doing before. And even she is saying, like, yeah, this new stuff you're doing, I don't know if I'm into it. Like, it's not that great. So it makes me feel like it's, like, she is kind of, I don't know, like, he's doing something that maybe to people in this universe makes sense as a continuation of his fame and everything like that from what he's done before. But his desire to do something absolutely new creatively is more powerful, and he's really trying to make that work. I don't know.
But there's definitely something here about, like, his creative shift in some form, and somehow that the spy stuff, like, him starting, like, is relating in some way to that. Like, his move from Marvel to DC and how that represents something to him and how he wants to do something with that. I think there's definitely really something in the fact that Asad Sins is an analog for Asad Rabik, who works generally for Marvel.
Totally.
Or at least in his Big Two stuff.
I didn't like Asad Sin's art as much as I like Asad Rabik's.
I'm surprised they didn't just bring Asad Rabik. I wonder how he would feel about this whole thing, but I'm surprised they didn't just bring Asad Rabik in to do a few pages, seeing as they fucking got Michael Avon Oeming to just do pages. It made it clear who Owen's friend is supposed to be.
Oh, I wasn't aware of this. I was going to ask you that.
So do you remember the artist from Cave Carson?
Oh yeah.
He does a bunch of work. He did Powers with Bendis, and he did he's currently doing United States of Murder Inc.
Okay.
So he is a common collaborator with Brian Michael Bendis, and so I think his friend here is basically supposed to be Michael A. Von Oming.
I wonder if he ever said that he has the new Matrix.
Yeah, he sounds like he likes to kind of hyperbolize about his own work, which is funny.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, I really like that element of all this, and I'm glad we had this talk. I'm really, really excited. I think this book is so cool. Like, out of all of them, I don't know. Like, I know I dropped off a Pearl. I know you're still on that, but like, I don't know. It just feels so like, I don't know.
This one feels like the deepest of his Jinx World stuff, at least that we're reading. Like it's really interesting to try to dig into. Like he's saying stuff here that he isn't saying in his other books. That is like very personal to him, and that's fascinating.
Also, that whole last thing about Stan Lee and him meeting him and his experiences was so nice.
That was lovely.
So good.
Yeah,
it's really sad that he wasn't able to watch the movies for the last 4 years.
Yeah, that's so fucking sad.
Like,
yeah,
but I mean,
they republished a little story in the back here that was from where did they publish? It was in the New York Times about Brian Michael Bendis' experience coming up in comics and meeting Stan Lee and going to like become kind of acquainted with him, and it's a very touching little story.
It really is. It makes me realize whenever I see like these people in real life, I have no idea what they look like. Like, it's really insane. Like, I don't know what I thought Brian Michael Bendis looked like, but I don't know. It wasn't that for some reason. I don't get it. I don't know why I have these images in my head.
He looks like this. He's much much thinner now. He went through some medical stuff the last.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
he's
like
infection.
He's like really. He's just a tiny little dude now. I saw him at C2E2 a year or two ago, and he's just a little guy. But yeah, that's him.
Okay, well, very cool. Okay, I think that's about all I want to talk about weekly comics wise.
That's about it.
What is it? Night Moves is still really, really good if you want to get the first 2 issues. I'm just saying. Nonetheless, next week is a small week.
Yes.
Both of us have one book that neither of us share. What is it? You have Hellboy in the BPRD. That's the 1956 thing?
Yes. That is the second issue of that series.
Oh, you said you might skip it?
I'm not going to not read it. I just might not pick it up this next Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. I will not be able to pick up mine in LA because mine is Man-Eaters by Chelsea Kane. So I will not be able to pick mine up. But I am going to pick it up when I get back.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick up the issue. Just going to, not going to pick it up this Wednesday. But so it'll be a light week. When we do a show this next week, we will be doing it in person. And we will be doing it because we won't be reading books. We're going to be doing it all about the best of 2018 stuff.
2018.
So very exciting.
It's crazy. We're just rolling along with time and everything like that. History.
We'll all be dust eventually.
We'll all be dust. Did that come through? I just snapped my fingers. Oh. So I guess I'm here. Doug's gone. Great.
That bit kind of just took a nosedive, but
I'm now engaged to your girlfriend, so yeah.
Oh my god! Wait,
isn't that crazy?
That's not how that works.
It's how it works in my world, motherfucker.
It's not a line of succession.
There is. Also one other thing before we leave. I started reading the Manhattan Projects.
Oh, how are you liking that?
I read the first issue, Jesus.
It's a fucking weird book.
It is a weird book so far, but I'm super pumped. Like, what is it? They spent this whole issue talking about, like, Oppenheimer, who's a real guy.
Yeah.
And I guess he, in this story, he has
I don't think he did. This is all fictional.
Yeah.
the brother stuff.
Twin brother who just takes his place, like, and eats him. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. His brother ate him to absorb his knowledge, and now he has the knowledge of Robert Oppenheimer.
Fucking nowhere. Just, I'm pumped. I love the art. The art is a little something to get used to. But I'm a big fan. I'm excited. I have these first 2 books, and then I have issues after that, and then I should be done.
Yeah,
courtesy
the art
of you,
Doug. Ooh, yeah. The art is definitely something to kind of get used to, but you really do come to appreciate it. I think it's a really good fit for that series. And that series is so weird. I love it. I want it back. I wish it was back. It went to mini-series format a while back, and they did a mini-series that was kind of like a little spin-off of about one of the characters who disappeared at one point in the story, and then they never announced another one. So,
did you read that mini?
I did. It was good. Yeah. Okay, I liked it. It wasn't. Was this? I didn't like it as much as the normal series, but it was good. What now?
Do you leave the normal series up for, like, can they continue it if they wanted to?
They theoretically could. I doubt they will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I'm really, really excited for that and I'm also on this new trend of, like, I'm going to try and finish as much as I can. Like, I'm going to finish this series before moving on to one. I think I'm into, like, that idea more so than, like, okay, reading a volume of this one. Okay, then I'm reading a volume of this one. Like, I like doing that too because it gives you different things to do. But, like, it gets to a point where I have to reread the entire thing that I just read. Like, I just did with Descender.
I always try to do that, and I end up reading, like, 4 trades or something of, like, a really long thing, and then I'm like, and I'm tired. So I'll read in, like, big chunks, and then I'll have to, like, and then I'll get distracted and read other stuff, and then I'll come back to it eventually. But
gotcha.
Usually how I end up operating. But anyways.
Oh, one other thing. Sorry, last thing. I read Buzzkill also this past week, and it's so fucking good. You have to fucking get it. And I want them to do everything. Sorry.
Okay.
I want them to continue, like, telling that kind of story, and it's awesome.
All right.
Sorry, that was really aggressive.
Okay.
That's all. I think this is going to about do it for this week, though.
Uh-huh.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. We're a new podcast, kind of. We're
56 episodes in.
Okay. We're a podcast. And because we're a podcast, the absolute biggest thing you can do for us, if you like the show, is give us a review or start writing out on iTunes. And if you enjoyed what you heard, let someone know about us with your mouth or with your mouse. We release episodes weekly on Sundays, so be sure to check back next week. Or you can subscribe and never have to think about it.
You can do that on pretty much any podcast app you use. iTunes, Stitcher, we're on Spotify. We recently got on iHeartRadio. So in case you listen to podcasts on iHeartRadio, I guess, I mean, like, I don't want to, like, kink shame you or whatever.
Wow. But you never know what people are doing, man.
But whatever weird podcast app you use, we've got you covered. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, before next episode, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook under the handle @comicscovered or facebook.com/comicscovered. You can find archives of all our episodes at comicscovered.libsyn.com. That's LIBSYN.com. And video versions on our YouTube channel or Facebook. If you want to get a hold of us with a question or feedback, send us a message on Facebook or Twitter. Maybe we will... not maybe. Yeah. We'll get back to you.
You will.
So thanks again for listening. I'm Doug.
I'm Doug's fiancé.
That's not true.
And this has been Comics Covered.
Thanks, guys.
Cheerio.